Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tina and I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, I am doing my first update on my Pan That Palette series, and that also means I'm doing my first rotation for this series for the year. So I am only going to be updating you guys on this project every quarter, and at the quarter update, I'm going to be rotating in a new set of palettes. So my theme for my Pan That Palette series for 2022 is something old and something new. So that basically means that I'm going to be working on a newer face palette from my collection as well as an older face palette from my collection for that quarter. And I'm continuing that theme throughout the year. I am starting to think that I might need to maybe rejig at some point, just because I don't have all that many face palettes that are new in my collection. So when I say new, it's probably going to be maybe the last 3 years or so, but we'll figure it out as we go along. But before we get into the update, if you are new around here, I hope you'll consider subscribing down below if you do want to keep up to date on my project panning content and all my other beauty related content. And without further ado, let's jump on into the video. So for the first quarter, I was working on my Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look of Love in a palette in the Glowing Beauty colorway. This is a full face palette, so it has eyeshadows in it, it has blushes, highlights, face powder, bronzer. So it's a full face in a palette. And then I was also working on my Tarte Off the Cuff Amazonian Clay Cheek palette. This also has a bronzer in it. I already had one pan in this palette, and then my face palette was basically brand new because I only got this in, it was October or November last year. So it was basically brand new. So basically my goal on this one was to hit, I think I wanted to hit 2 or 3 pans in this one. That was my goal. And then in this one, I just really wanted to make it look used. If I could hit pans, then that was just an extra bonus. We might start off with this palette here. So this is my Something New palette. And in this palette, I unfortunately didn't hit any pans, but I have made this palette look used and abused. It is looking very used and well loved and worn. I've basically rubbed off all of the writing on all of the pans bar 2 in sections. Some of the writing is completely gone. Some of it is still, you can still kind of see, but we might go through the palette and you will see the close-up photos. So the eyeshadow up the top here, the Brighten color, is the one that I do still have writing on. You can kind of see the wording under the bottom there. Then the next one in the middle there, which is Enhance, it does also still have a little bit of the writing. The one on the end here, let me just scooch a little bit closer. The one on the end here is the one in the palette that has the most amount of progress on, and I am so close to hitting pan on this one. So I do think that I might potentially rotate this one into my Pan Those eyeshadows at some point this year as my chosen shade, just because I'm so close to hitting pan on it, that if I need that extra motivation and a reason to reach for it, I might just rotate it into my Pan Those eyeshadows for a month. I don't think I'll need any more than a month to hit pan on that one. But these shades, I don't know whether you can see, but these pans are actually really quite deep. Then moving on to the outer 2 shades here, this is the face powder here. There is a really good dip on that one. I don't know whether you can see the edge of the pan here, kind of indicates how deep down I've gone with that one. On the other, and all of the wording is worn off on that one. Moving over to the other side with the bronzer, there is a lot of wear on that pan as well. You can still see some of the wording though on that bronzer wording there, and I think it has the number 4 is where it's got the deepest dip, but you can still see some of the wording. Moving into the middle in the highlighted color here, you can basically all of the wording is gone, but the little imprints are still kind of a little bit visible. And then moving down to the cheek one. The cheek one is the one in the palette that I've probably used the least. So you can still see like the number 6 and the word cheek. But overall, I'm very happy with the progress on this palette. Like I said, I've almost got pan on this one up the top here, and the rest of the shades in the palette are all looking extremely worn. The palette's looking very well loved, so I'm very proud with the progress that I've made on this palette in the first quarter. Like I said, I think I would really like to hit pan on this one up in the corner at some point this year. In terms of the other products, it doesn't really fuss me whether I end up hitting pan on those ones or not. But I definitely would really like to hit pan on that eyeshadow because I just know that I am so incredibly close at hitting pan on that one. Then we move into my Tarte Off the Cuff blush palette, and then this is one that I've actually made a little bit of progress on. I did already have pan on the shade right in the middle of this palette, but since rotating it in, I have been able to hit a further 2 pans. So I did hit pan in the bronzer at the end here, and I also hit pan in this deeper blush shade here. This one here does have a bit of wear in the middle in terms of usage, and then the quite bright pink one here doesn't have much usage at all on it. It actually still kind of looks like the pan is fairly new. But overall, I think this palette again is starting to look really well used. I think in terms of like the bronzer, it wouldn't take me much effort to really expand the pan on that one, and same with this blush in the middle here. This one here, it probably would take me a bit of effort to expand the pan. I mainly got pan in this section here because I already had a nick out of the blush. So every time I put my blush brush into the palette, it was like already kind of focusing its bristles into that section that already had a bit of a scallop out of it. And then this one, like I said, it does look like most of the imprint from the pan or the existing imprint on the pan is worn off. There is a little spots around the edge here, but I think it's looking well used. And then the one that basically still looks brand new is this pink one here. So I would like to eventually, probably maybe not this year, but I would like to eventually come back to this one, maybe next year, hit pan on the other 2 shades, and then work on maybe completely using up or at least expanding the pan on the pans that are already done, because I think I could easily expand those pans. The amount of use that I made on that bronzer, I reckon I could probably quite easily maybe get that one finished if I focused on it for a couple of months. The blushes would definitely take me longer, but there are a few that I think I could easily like hit side pan and maybe repress or something like that quite easily. So yes, again, very happy with the progress on this one and how it's looking now, considering how old it is. I'm very happy to see more pans in this palette. And like I said, I would at one stage, sometime in the future, maybe like to focus on expanding those pans, or even like having this as my focus palette to completely use up. Those are my palettes that are rotating out. I am going to bring in 2 new face palettes into this project, again keeping with the theme of something old and something new. So we might start off with my something new palette because I think there's going to be a few of you that will be annoyed at me about my something old palette, and there's also going to be a few of you that will be really excited about my something old palette. So if you can guess down in the comments, let me know which palette you think is going to be my something old palette. And with that being said, let's jump on into my something new palette. So that is going to be my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Sculpt palette. This was the Christmas palette from not last year, but the year before, I believe. So 2019, I believe this one is from. So I do already have a little bit of pan in my mood exposure up in the corner here. So I would really very much so like to expand the pan on mood exposure. I actually have 2 mood exposures in my collection, so I would at least like to get one of those used at some point. The bronzer, I actually really like using the Hourglass bronzer, and I think it's this one, number 3 here. No, number 1 is Dim Light. I actually very easily panned Dim Light in another palette. I actually used it for myself as a bronzer, and I think it looked gorgeous on my skin. So I think with a little bit of attention and focus, I could probably easily get some very good wear on both of these two. I think out of all of this palette, the ones that I am probably going to really struggle with getting any kind of dips or pans on are going to be these two up here. So the diffused light, which is the one in the middle, just because I don't really wear shimmery powders, I'll give it a try under my eyes, but I don't think I will like it. I think I'll probably find it a little bit too shimmery. And then the one on the side here being glistening strobe light. These might be something, I don't know, I'm just like spitballing ideas here. Maybe they might be something that I can use as blush toppers to like add some luminosity and get some more use out of them that way. Maybe that's a way I can give it a try. This one here is still looking quite raised, so I don't think I'm probably going to get all that much progress on that one, but I definitely think these two at the end here being the ones that I can use as a bronzer, I'll get good progress on them. And then mood exposure, I fucking love using mood exposure, so I probably will make a lot of progress on that one, if not maybe even have it completely used up, because I'll probably struggle to put that one down. So that's my Something New palette rolling in. And now moving on to my Something Old palette. And for that one, I am going to bring in my Too Faced Love Flush Blush Wardrobe. I have been panning this one on and off for 3 years now. So I do really, really want to get this one done this year. So this might be one that I might have in the project for 2 quarters. I might do this second quarter and then maybe the 4th quarter. I might bring it back for the 4th quarter depending on how much progress I make. But in this palette, I already have 3 completely used up blushes in this palette. Out of the 3 that are remaining, I already have pan in 2, and then I have one that doesn't have any pan at all. So I would really like to get these 2 completely used up, and then this one I want to definitely completely use up, but I would really at least like to hit pan on it. And then maybe in the last quarter, I can completely have that one finished. So going forward for the next quarter, I definitely think I can seriously expand the pan on How Deep Is Your Love. I'm just looking at it now. There's a few like specks around that I am really close to expanding the pan. So maybe on How Deep Is Your Love, I can at least try and get half of it done. I might need to maybe repress it at some stage. Not quite sure. And then I Will Always Love You. I'd really like to expand that one as well. I'm not quite sure what my game plan is going to be. I think, knowing me, I will probably want to completely use up How Deep Is Your Love, and then I'll probably want to try and hit pan on this one. That's just me thinking about how I probably will want to pan this palette, because I think once I start working on How Deep Is Your Love and see the pan expanding really quickly, I'll probably want to keep focusing on that one until I have it completely used up. And then I will probably really get a bee in my bonnet about this one not having any use on it. So that's probably how it will go down with this palette. And then for the last quarter, oh man, I really, really want to get this one out of my collection. That is my update on my Pan That Palette series and my new palettes for Q2 of 2022. Let me know down in the comments how you're going on your face palette, if you are focusing on any face palettes in your collection. Let me know if you're going to be joining me on my journey for the next quarter of trying to pan the Love Flush blush wardrobe. I'd love to see your support and your updates down in the comments on this palette. While you're down there, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you are new around here and you haven't already, I hope you would consider subscribing down below. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. I hope that you are staying safe, healthy, and looking after yourself. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.